Alrighty guys, it's me, Smelly McTroll, again, and this is Adventures of Mana. So this is a 3D remake of the original Final Fantasy adventure, if you can't tell by the soundtrack. That's one of the nice features about this game, is you can switch to a remastered soundtrack, which is actually really nice in this game, or you can just have the original Game Boy soundtrack, so I just figured I'd go with that, and so here we are. And time is going to start as soon as I press confirm. So we'll just go through this new game portion, and then we get the synopsis of the story. And we're going to start here in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, so first we're going to start out with these big cats. These guys kind of do a 3-hit combo. I try to sneak another one in. Tap forward. Kind of messed that one up a little bit. And then you can do single swipes on the sword. You do those single swipes and then you're spaced almost perfectly. So I just tap up just slightly once. And get you into position once you get that damage boost backwards. And that chest has a candy, but I'm not going to open it up just yet, because the first chest you open in the game actually gives you a tutorial on how to use the ring menu, which is new to this game. Let's kill this cat. Okay. That went a little bit smoother. In just over a minute, these cats. Generally, my target is getting maybe 58 seconds or so. Yes, so Final Fantasy Adventure does have 2 different remakes. Sword of Mana is a little bit, well, I don't even want to say a little bit different. It's a lot different than the original Final Fantasy Adventure. So they took all the Seiken Densetsu lore that came after Final Fantasy Adventure, like Secret of Mana, SD3, so on and so on, and they just kind of rolled it back into it. So the story is somewhat similar. Not completely different, though. Okay, so we're off to the races now. This first... okay, so this first leg of the journey, we get these goblins, right? It looks like I'm getting some pretty bad enemy patterns here, which is one thing that's persistent throughout the rest of the game. So this remake was so faithful to the original, down to the fact where you can have, like, no safe distance for enemies, so enemies can hit you pretty much as soon as you transfer into another screen. And I do want to be attacking these mushrooms, not so much the goblins. The goblins have a really high drop rate. So if you meet those guys at a choke point, they can drop a chest right in your way and waste a little bit of time, like, which is probably going to happen here. And wow, I have never seen so many enemies on this screen. That's pretty crazy. I'm actually going to heal here. I rarely have to heal before I get to Bogart's cabin, which is one of my set heal points generally. And these imps are pretty scary. They do about 6 damage, which is kind of devastating at this point. Anywho, a little bit about how this game works. So we have our health bar, we have our MP, so you see the green and the blue, and the red bar at the bottom is your stamina bar. So you'll do damage proportional to how far that gauge is filled up. When it's completely full, you'll do a power hit with whatever weapon you have. And the sword, which is the only weapon in this game that's actually designed to attack, designed solely for combat, I should say. It has 2, so it has a sword spin, and it also has a sword dash, and I'll be using those both throughout the run. Every now and then you'll get a companion. So right now we have Fuji, who's the other main character in this game. And her Ask ability, you'll see in that little speech bubble in the upper right-hand corner, is to kind of just gradually heal you over time. So really helpful when going through this stretch. Also, from Bogart's cabin, Bogart's that guy we just talked to, who pretended to be a woodcutter, but is actually a legendary knight. From his cabin onto the screen where I fight lizardmen, I want to retain my stamina bar. You can see it builds up very, very slowly at this point in the game, having not gained any levels yet. So you kind of got to take whatever enemy spawns you get. I'm going to stop here really quick. This is my other set heal point. This guy sells you an axe a little bit later on, but just coming in here and collecting some keys. And a quick heal, because the swamp enemies do a little bit more damage, and can also poison you, which, again, is very devastating. Wow, man. This is crazy. Alright, okay. So, yeah, you got some marathon luck going on here. These screens are just filled with enemies. I was trying to abuse some iframes and just kind of push that guy out of the way, but he wasn't having it. The first major stop is... oops. Ket Manor. So we have to go in here, kind of bed down for the night, and heal up. And then we'll be off in the morning. Luckily, if you get poisoned, once you step through that door, it's gone. Mithril Sword? Yeah, Mithril Sword is still really good in this game. But, I'd say about a quarter of the way through the run. And then, yeah, it's pretty good up until that point, till we get the Blood Sword in Castle Glaive. And then pretty much the Blood Sword becomes the god tier weapon. Mostly because you're pretty much one or two shot the entire run. That's what makes the speedrun pretty difficult. So you have to watch it like in a few areas. I actually have a really good lizard man pattern here. So you can see you can use the sword spin to kind of group those guys together, and I'll be using the kind of defensive properties of it a little bit later on. And so, a vast upgrade over the original game, that sword spin. I haven't played too much of the original, but talking back and forth like Van and Bowie, it's not that great. Also, the upper right-hand corner, so those quick slots are actually amazing, and yeah, that's what enables a lot of speed in this game. Okay. So, what I'm trying to hunt down now, and I'm getting pretty good patterns on here, are these leeches. So, Maddox. You need lots and lots of Maddox throughout this run. Because there's a weapon that's a little bit later on that acts as a Maddox, but you just totally skip, and there is a potential for soft block. So there's that, and there's a couple other reasons why Maddox are just really, really good. And these guys drop Maddox. They also give you 10 XP. So you can level up real quick in this dungeon. Usually get to level 6 and working on level 7. Depending on how many guys are in your way. And we pick up our first alternate weapon, the sickle. I'm just going to go ahead and pop that on. I should mention that pretty much every weapon doubles as a tool in this game. Except for the sword, which I said earlier is just for pure combat. So the sickle cuts down those giant leaves, and actually only use it a couple times in the run. It is required at a certain point. Okay, so what are we at here? Level 5. Alright, that's good. If I get some good leech patterns going from here on, should get level 6 early. So let's see, this one usually has the most leeches. Okay, no leeches. So because of that, I may just get level 6 in the same spot I usually do. This room usually has a lot too. Oh, actually got a drop. Can you open the chest, please, Sumo? Thank you. Alright. Yeah, level 6 is, it looks like I'm gonna get it in the usual spot. So, sickle's required there. To move forward. Gonna clean up these guys too. So those leeches do massive damage, and they also poison you, so it's a little scary, like, getting real close to them and fighting them like that. Okay, there's level 6. So I got it one room early. Yes, I did run this at RPG Limit Break as well. So you get the first Maddock from Bogart's cabin. It's just hanging out in the back. Okay, so I did mention the stamina, and for most bosses, you want to have full stamina as soon as you get in there. So there's a couple screens back from the actual boss. You just want to stop attacking altogether and just dodge enemies, so that you have a full bar as soon as you get there, and which is very important for Hydra. And Hydra is the first boss, but is also kind of tough. Depending on how much damage you get off the sword spin. Optimally, you want to be hitting his heads and his body. So you kind of stand here, you start spinning. Looks like I got a decent amount. And he's one of the gatekeepers in this run. Oh, Red Mage helping out. Okay. Oh, I'm dead, I think. No, I'm alive. And he's not. That was an excellent fight. That was a really good fight, actually. Okay, so now we get the Fire Spell and the Moon Mirror. We need the Moon Mirror to progress, but not just yet. So now I'm going to go back and get that axe that I turned down earlier, which I didn't have the money for anyway, and hopefully not die. Okay, we're in safe territory now. So we just answer yes to that. I'm gonna pick up another keyring, and we're just gonna get some Maddocks here. So I'm up a stack of Maddocks actually, so I can save a little bit of money. I got that one drop, so I usually get 3 there, so now I have 4. I'm gonna cut this down and do the first menu. So let's go ahead and drop that on. Magic Mirror. I need keys as well. And you just have to do a double menu here to get everything you need. So I'll just switch to Axe. Now we're going to go and explore Ket Manor proper, because Fuji is in there, and we really, really need to rescue her. I mean, if we don't, we just can't progress through the game, so there's that. And because I hit that Poi Flower, this guy is probably going to be a 4-hitter. Let's see... Well, he's definitely going to be one now. Thanks for jumping across the screen. And you just need to have the Moon Mirror equipped to send him into werewolf mode. I don't know. I think Sumo has hidden pockets on his armor somewhere. Yeah, so another advantage of the quick slots is if you run out of an item, a consumable item, it actually just replaces it if you have more. So you'll see once I use the Madoc in this room up ahead. Oops. I want to get rid of these guys. They're very scary. So yeah, it gives you the count. Yeah, the count for how many you have at the top, and then it just replaces the item. Yeah, so those rats, they will change direction very rapidly. Just come and get ya. And I'm not having luck with the drops in here. So I'm killing these Blood Owls. Not only do the Blood Owls have a lot of XP, they also drop crystals. And crystals are mildly important. They just speed up a couple sections where you would normally have to wait for your stamina bar. So I do try to get 2 crystal drops. But yeah, they're not being very friendly right now. That is a weapon, so let's go ahead and go to the weaponry. But yeah, the ring menu. Vast improvement over the original. Since the original is pretty archaic with the menu system. And it's just so fast and smooth in this one. Oh, there's one. Anytime those guys drop a chest, you know it's a crystal. It's the only thing they actually drop. So for this dungeon, we just go and get the flail, and then we can go to the second half. Once we get to the second half, you can actually save Fuji. Again. And that's coming up in a couple screens. And pretty much just using flail throughout this dungeon. One, because it has the most... You can get the most damage from it at this point. And 2, because you can get a lot of enemies, especially with the backswing from this. So it stays out actually fairly long. I'm gonna hope that guy turns into a Blood Owl and drops a crystal on the way back. Okay, so maybe I should talk about the leveling now. So, leveling. Oh, there's a lot of guys in here. I've routed it out, so you pretty much only take warrior levels. In fact, you only take warrior levels, which makes your strength grow 2 to 1 with your life. So you can kill bosses really, really fast. The trade-off is that you're pretty much gonna die if anything touches you, for the most part. So the boss fights become that much tougher. And all the techniques are pretty much revolving around avoiding damage. Oh man, come on, Blood Owls. I'm just gonna get that guy because he's hanging out. I do want to try to get an early level. Yeah, those zombies, usually I put on the fire spell, which is like the only thing that can damage those guys. But it has a very long windup. And most of the time you won't even really need to use it. Except if a zombie kind of approaches you on a choke point. That'd be the only time. Looks like we're pretty good here. Okay, I'm gonna need to wait for a second though. I kind of messed everything up here. I attacked when I wasn't supposed to attack. So, just a small time penalty. But okay, Count Lee. So I run up in this corner. Wait, 1, 2. start a sword spin. So he can almost whiff every single time, unless you're positioned kind of strange up there. And once you get enough damage off that sword spin, it takes 6 or 7 hits to kill him with the flail. So there he goes. And here we go. So I pretty much already have all the weapons on. So I'll just need to switch to sickle here. Because we're going to need sickle real soon, and then we're going to need flail and axe. And sword's just there because why not? So we just chop here, switch to flail. And then we're gonna cross this gap up ahead. Ooh, just short of it. Didn't want to get poisoned there. And switch to axe. And axe is gonna be the main weapon for a little while. I'm just gonna ignore those guys. These dragonflies. These dragonflies are really dangerous, actually. They can one-shot you at this point. Get rid of this guy too, since he's just standing there. Okay, so we only go to Windle to actually advance the narrative. So we're going to see someone named Sir Siba. And then when we get into his shrine here, he's going to see the Mana Pendant and ask Fuji to go step on the circle, and she's going to get a vision. And her mother's just going to tell her that she's a mana maiden. Her duty to protect the mana tree. No, and you can't skip this cutscene, as far as I know. But you can mash through it. And then here comes the mysterious red mage. So instead of like going with Sumo, someone that has actually saved her life a couple times at this point, she just runs off with this mysterious red mage who reveals himself as Julius. So Julius is the guy we saw in the beginning. He's just kind of the Emperor's attendant, going around doing all the Emperor's dirty work. So he just runs in, kidnaps her, shoots you with a tracking fireball, and runs off. And now, kind of at the mercy of RNG here. I'm hoping the crabs are generous. The blood owls really weren't. Yeah, there was an imp in there too. Those imps are still kind of dangerous. Oh. So are these guys. So this is the axe's ability. Oh god. You can chop down trees. So we're going to be chopping down trees all over this section. Oh, nice, dude. Thanks, crab. So that is a semi-important item. That actually saves a lot of time on one of the boss fights. And it saves a decent amount of time on another one. So I try to get 2 drops here. Got one right off the bat, and I think they might be generous. I usually just fight these guys a few times. But to actually progress in the next cave, I need that oil. And then we're going to fill up on Maddox again. So I can go up to 15 here now. Always leave a space for 2 Bacchus wines. Let's go. Hopefully I get this within 3 iterations of crabs. If not, I'll just use the one here, since it saves the most time, and then you have a few more opportunities to fight crabs a little later on. Looking for a chest, guys. For a chest. Yeah, I guess they're just not gonna spawn. So that's one. Oh man. Oh, nice. There we go. 2 Baka Swines. No time flat. And I'm actually closing in on level 11 too. I'm just gonna kill these guys. Scary, scary, scary. These guys too. So I just like to get rid of the pigment in this area because they can throw their spears through the trees and kill you. So you might as well take them out because most of the time they spawn right in your path. Yeah, they do. 1 use per Madoc. I don't know who's making these things, and how are they actually still in business? Alright, so next menu I'm going to trash this silver key, because you don't need that anymore. We're going to go ahead and replace that, and then drop on... where is it? Oil. Boom. And now we're all set for this dungeon. So you just need the oil to use on this super rusty minecart. And hopefully I don't get a track tarantula. Those guys are pretty scary. Oh, I got one, and... oh, that was strange. Somehow iframe through it. I guess you get iframes on that attack. Or maybe it was just well-timed, where the hitbox just passed over each other. Just more likely to have happened. Okay, so now we get our next partner, who we actually don't even use. He is really convenient, though. So, Watts is a portable store. Oh man, this room is scarier than usual. I'm gonna need to be pretty careful. Anyway, so yeah, Watts is a portable store. You can buy potions and Maddox and whatnot from him. But there's not ever a need to use them. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't die there. I don't think I'm going to get level 12, so I might need to use a Cure Spell. In fact, I'm just going to be proactive and use a Cure Spell. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to start building my stamina. Or not. So I guess I'm going to build a little more here. This Megapede is coming up in a couple screens. Don't really. I'm actually just going to reset that because that guy is hanging out right by the stairs. Switch to my sword. Come on, dude. Thank you. Alright, so I'm going to go down here and use this Bacchus wine. So that vastly increases your strength for a short period of time, and it enables a quick kill on this boss. So if all goes well, I should kill him in about half a cycle here. There he goes. No, so this game has a quick kill, or I just have quick kills on the brain. This game has a quick save feature, is what I meant to say. So it's actually saving on every screen transition. And there are certain dungeons, like Abandoned Mine, there's like no transfer point at any, or warp point at any... let me get my thoughts together here. It's kind of rambling. So there's nowhere to actually warp to the next screen for a while. So if you die in like for the first part of the Abandoned Mine, you'll actually get sent back to the beginning of that dungeon. Okay, so Mithril Sword, only thing I need to pick up here. So you actually need it to progress. I'm gonna go throw that on. I'm gonna throw this on. Actually, I'm gonna put on the axe. And then we're gonna put on keys. Yeah, so that quick kill is really hard. It's really hard to position yourself. Because Megapede has kind of a strange hitbox. It's like further back in his head. So you have to position yourself just right to where you can hit him. And his hitbox is huge. Like, it's massive. It's kind of ridiculous how massive it is. So you're pretty much a pixel or two from death doing that. Okay, apparently I have the axe twice. Alright, I need to menu up here anyway, so I'll go ahead and change that out. So here you'll get a preview of a couple minutes from now. Take out all these wolves. And don't need to really take out any more crabs, but hey, they're in the way. You have decent XP, so why not? And this area is very dangerous, so the enemies start doing a lot more damage here. And you're very likely to get one-shot by pretty much anything. And you have like all these really, really tight screens here. So I just end up killing a lot of enemies. And then going in here and getting a Mithril Helm as well for a bit more protection, since it only costs like 240. And of course, more Maddox. I'm just gonna fill up on Maddox here. Max out my inventory. And I'm actually gonna save the crystal. So normally I would use the crystal to cross a section coming up. Oh man, a lot of enemies here. Seems to be the theme for this run so far. Tons and tons of enemies. So yeah, stamina bar doesn't build up very fast again at this point. So you gotta wait maybe like 20-30 seconds or so to be able to cross this. And I guess I'm gonna wait another 30 seconds, considering I just threw my axe across the river. Yeah, I'm gonna reset this scene too, because I'm afraid of those purple guys. And those guys do massive damage. It's crazy. Okay, there we go. And then Mithril Sword! Oh my god, gets rid of these guys. That's a well-timed level up. I might be ahead on the levels. I'm gonna keep it on and hope we don't get any weird purple guy spawns. There's always a guy that spawns like right below this post. Oh, and I guess I'm gonna get trapped here. Oh man, that sucks, dude. And I can't even reset this screen. So I've got to toss something out from my inventory. Or I'll just die, I guess. That death here is probably the most optimal situation. Okay, so I've actually never gotten trapped there before like that. That was pretty crazy. But it didn't cost too much time. Let's go ahead and keep trucking on this. So, Airship is a very, very easy dungeon. You can clear it in, well, maybe a couple minutes, like 3 or 4 minutes, but we're gonna spend some extra time here, just grinding and getting a few levels. Well, that was the first death of the run, so I can't be too mad about that. That was more or less forced by the game, unfortunately. Okay, this is gonna be kind of scary. Those guys one-shot you, so I usually sword spin and use kind of the defensive properties of the sword spin in that room. Yeah, the only objective here is really, again, to save Fuji from Julius. in here, we'll get another sneak preview a couple minutes from now. Important thing to note about this room. You need to clear out all those werewolves with the spin first. When you hit that button, it turns your spin off, no matter how far you are into it. Okay, that worked out. So here's Fuji. And we come up with a plan, and we're gonna go around to the outside of the ship. Bogard's gonna stay there. And I'm just gonna kill these zombies because we can kill them now. This is the mithril sword. And that's pretty much all you have to do. Now I just have to make it to the outside of the ship without dying. Which is easy enough. There's only one kind of scary room, and it's right here. And I'm going to sword spin. So you can see your hitbox kind of changes a little bit. Normally I wouldn't be able to just slide past that guy like that. Okay, got a good spawn here. Those peeping eyes are just so dangerous in this version. They can boogle you, and on top of that, if you run into them, they can petrify you. Both are statuses that waste a lot of time. If you get petrified, you have to go into your menu and just heal yourself. But if you take an action before you do that, you get like completely petrified. And just cannot even move. You can't menu, can't do anything. Alright, almost through here. I'm just gonna push with low life. We're gonna get a level up pretty soon. And these screens aren't super dangerous. Especially not this one. Just need to get rid of that mouse. Put on my axe, kind of position myself upward. Oh, okay. That guy almost got away. And then I'm just gonna grind to level 20 here. Which, if you position yourself correctly, you get all 4 of these wolves in a couple swings. So you just get tons and tons of XP here. So this grind luckily only takes a couple minutes. And you really just have to mash on, you know, on the screen transfer here. Because if you don't get that first swing within the first couple of frames of you coming onto that screen, either the top guy or the bottom guy is going to get away. And then at the end of it all, I just have to hope that the bottom guy does not drop a chest like that. Not the end of the world, just saves a few seconds. That way I don't have to reset the screen. And again, I used to take a couple monk levels, but there's really no need to do that. Go straight warrior. Yeah, we do go through a pretty ample amount of werewolves here. Okay, so one more. When I did take the monk levels, I would just take them at the end. That way you increase your power first, so it takes less hits to actually kill these guys. Oh wow, got 2 chest drops there. Alright, there we go. And I don't see a chest drop. We are good to go. So, hello Fuji, how you doing? Also, hello Julius. So, Julius is doing what Julius does best. Anytime he sees someone he doesn't like, he just tosses a tracking fireball. And so we fall out of an airship in midair and land through a roof. We don't even mess up the roof. I don't know how that happens. It's some very strange physics in this world. Sumo does end up getting hurt, though. Apparently. Okay, so Minos. There's absolutely nothing I need to do in this town. Just need to push forward and not get beat up quite a bit. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. All these enemies in the way, again. Keeping with the general theme. And that's quite alright. I'm gonna be getting a level pretty soon. That was pretty scary, though. Oh, and that too. And here's more werewolves. Usually don't have to fight through those guys like that. Pretty weird. But anywho, here's the best part. So we cross this little river right here, and we get our fine feathered friend, which is actually mandatory in this game. Apparently in the original, you can just totally skip over. So, Chocobo. You can actually go twice as fast on the Chocobo and just run right past enemies. It's great. Also, the Chocobo has some strange properties. So, if you get poisoned and get on the Chocobo, you won't die. So, the poison status will still tick down. Once the timer hits 0, though, it just goes away. And you don't lose any life at all. And dismounting the Chocobo is weird, too. So, I actually found a glitch where if you are on a higher plane than water and you dismount kind of close to it, then you can actually dismount and Sumo can walk on water. I haven't found any use for it just yet, but I'm just going to toy around with it and see what I can get. So, old Amanda here, you saw her earlier in the game, kind of just walked past her in the very beginning. She took our mana pendant. She is on a mission to save her brother, and she made a deal with a guy named Davius, who's kind of the mayor, or so to speak, of the next town. Her brother got turned into a parrot, and now we're down here trying to find Gorgon tears. Oh my. Why are there so many? Can't complain about the XP. So the biting lizards don't have that much XP. But you really want to kill the Shadow Zeros. They have 45. So I try to save my spins for the rooms those guys are in. Especially since they can go underground. I'm just gonna kind of go out of my way. I really do want to get a level up here. I should get one on the way back. So many. Also, we get our next spell in this dungeon. And as we zip over here, we're gonna run over and get the Blizzard spell, which deals no damage at all. But it does turn enemies into snowmen. Unfortunately, if you kill the snowman, you don't get any XP. But you do need this to progress through the game. A couple times, actually. And there's the level up. Yes, there's the property of the chocobo being a horse-sized bird. But I mean that's not too unusual, right? I mean there are ostriches that are like, you know, very, very large birds as well. And kind of like a big yellow ostrich, right? Okay, so we get kind of a tutorial on how to use the blizzard spell, and then pushing those snowmen over to the switch. So you just use that, freeze a spider, bada bing, bada boom, and then we're moving on to the boss. I like spinning through here again. Shadow Zeros are dangerous. They also have a lot of XP. And we don't need to have full stamina at the beginning of this fight. So Medusa, you don't attack her right away. And the reason you don't is because she will grab you and petrify you. So you kind of just want to back her to the wall here. You wait till she starts doing that. You avoid it, and just spin. And you kill her before the end of the spin. So we actually didn't see it with how fast Medusa went down, but at some point during that fight, she actually leapt out at Amanda and bit her, and now Amanda is turning into a Gorgon. So we have to kill Amanda, unfortunately. And just take one of her tears of blood at this point. And this will heal her brother, that we'll come up to in a bit. And yes, there are two different soundtracks in this game. You can pick the remastered version, which is really, really good, or the Game Boy version, which is also pretty good. Alright, we just need one NPC not to spawn up here. Okay. There's that blue-haired girl down there. If she spawns in that choke point, you have to just reset the scene or go around. And now I'm gonna get set up for this dungeon. Don't actually need the flail, so we're gonna get rid of that. Gonna replace that with the tears. I have Maddox, and here's a key. Also, something new about the party members in this version, that the party members can actually get knocked out, which you haven't seen too much yet, or really at all. Probably won't see it until the end of the game, to be honest. And I don't really need to chase down those Spiral the Dragon looking enemies. They drop crystals, they also have a decent amount of HP. They can be dangerous though, because you can only hit them from one side. Just because I saved my crystal from earlier. Just gonna spin here. Okay, that's fine. I do have a place where that can be used. Okay, that's not quite what I wanted to do, but it worked out just fine. Oh, let's keep moving. Whew. Okay, dodged a bullet there. Pretty scary situation. And there's a puzzle here, but all you really have to do is just go counterclockwise around these switches. Boom. Okay, scary, scary. Do you want to try well, I guess I want to attempt to get to level 23. Which is not important now, but it will be important in the near future. Also, I just realized I don't even have the Mithril Helm equipped. Okay, so we're almost to the boss here. So Davius is one of the major bosses of the game, and therefore he gets his own battle theme. Which is good, again, on the Game Boy version, but it's really, really good in the remixed version. And he's just gonna circle himself in fireballs, like so. And we're gonna Sword Dash because it has a lot of iframes. Wait for the stamina refill. Do that. Wait for him to disperse his fireballs. And get him again. So, I wait to use the crystal until he's about to toss his fireballs everywhere, because you get a small amount of iframes every time you use an item in this game. Well, certain items. Crystals, spells, that kind of stuff. So you can take a hit there, and then you can just Sword Dash on him and everything's good. So we rescued Amanda's brother, taken care of Davius, and now we're going to move on to pretty much the halfway point of the game. We just have one barrier in our way. This is looking pretty good. I'm actually at full health here, which almost never happens. So, a very short cave coming up. I'm starting kind of dismounting my Chocobo here. Actually, there's no need for it right now. Dismounting my Chocobo earlier there, because a couple of times, I actually think it happened in my PB too. I dismounted my Chocobo, transitioned through the screen, and an enemy somehow hit me on the transition through the screen, so I died on the other side. So I just started doing that as a precaution. Okay, so I'm gonna stop attacking there. That's not great, but let's see what happens. Go ahead and fight this giant enemy crab. Hopefully he attacks with his left claw. Like that. Thank you, crab. So he... Oh my god. Oh, I was a little bit too early. Let's try it again, shall we? That would have been a perfect boss fight. Okay, that's not great. Okay, this guy's gonna be a roadblock. Yeah, random giant crab. Who doesn't want to play nice at this point? Anyway, we want to come in spinning, and then you want to bait him to attack with that... There we go, that left claw. Back off, wait till he's in position. Swipe him a few times, and there he goes. That's what should have happened the first time. Unfortunately, I moved up a little bit too early, so his hitbox was still present on that corner. So, with the crab, if he attacks with his right claw first, he will immediately move like you saw. So you have to modify your strategy, and that fight gets a lot more dangerous, actually, if he attacks with his right claw first. So you have to kill him on the right side of the room. And with the perspective there, it can be really hard to tell if you're hitting him or not. Or if you're going to hit him or not, I should say. Okay, lots of enemies is going to be a good thing here. Oh my god. So these gorillas are like 100 XP each. You do not want to pass up fighting these guys. And there's my level. It's going to be important here in a bit. So slightly ahead. Slightly ahead on these levels. Is good. And I don't have to go to that. But I guess I'm just gonna waste the screen transition anyway. And this part gets kind of scary up here. I usually use the sleep spell through here, but I decided just to push through, and of course, when I do decide that, we get all these jumping guys and everybody in my way. So there's another death as a result. Let's try it again. Oh, there's so many. Okay, so this is the last time you upgrade your armor in the game. And we just get the crystal set. If I do have enough left over at this point, I tend to get the crystal shield as well. Let's go ahead and equip that. And you know what? I am gonna put on that sleep spell, because I don't want to die. So let's give it a cast here. For that very reason. So sometimes you get enemies that will come down that vine. Cast a sleep spell, freeze them in place, so you can anticipate them. And everything just coming at me. Man. These guys won't give me a break right now. Wow. That is nuts. At least I'm getting a lot of XP though, right? I mean, that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna need to concentrate a little bit here. So I'm gonna need to do a count. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, get out of there. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. Take the double laser. 31, 32. Oh my god. Okay, so this fight started kind of weird. Normally you get 2 hits on him, and it lines everything up. Of course that didn't happen. He started doing weird stuff in the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm actually going to leave it at that. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 7, 38, 39, 40, 41. Okay, there we go. Alright. So, that's one of the reasons why Manox are so important. And you start stocking up right from the beginning. Because, yeah, we do a little skip there. So instead of going the normal path through the game, which would be going all the way through that cave, and it's kind of like a Zelda, mysterious forest type cave, where if you go the wrong way, it sends you back to the beginning. You just go straight forward and fight like the ultimate boss of that cave. There's 2 bosses in there. Once you get to the other side, you fight a boss called Cyclops. He gives you a weapon. Okay. Moogle and Death. He gives you a weapon called the Morning Star, which acts as a weapon version of the Maddox. It's very slow and clunky, and you have to go far out of your way to actually get it. Fortunately, you can just chop down... Not this guy. You can just chop down the golem with Maddox. So it takes anywhere from 38 to 42 Maddox to actually kill him. So you just completely skip over that. Unfortunately, that does lead to potential soft locks a little later in the game. But that's only if you miscount. You don't have enough. Alright, that's actually real good. Level 24 here is real nice. So it's going to take a little bit of time off this boss fight that's coming up, which is one of the harder ones in the game to do correctly. I'm going to stop here. I'm actually going to suit up with my Bacchus wine before I go in. So we have pretty high strength, and I'm going to try to get double hits on this guy with sword dashes. Just like that. And then he's going to jump in the air. He's going to throw some nuke spells. My stamina should come back, and I just hit him with a Maddox before that last one hits the ground. Just barely missed that. The first couple of rounds are really the most important. Okay, if you hit him too late, he tends to do that. Which he'll toss a few fireballs out before he actually will charge at you. And there he goes. Okay, and we see a very welcome face here. Fuji. Again. We're actually going to need to use her. Almost mandatory to use her. To be honest, there's a couple spike beds you have to walk over. The screen can be scary, so I like to spin here. Unfortunately, there's just that one knight. These knights are pretty nasty. They're analogous to Dark Nuts. I actually just think I may need to heal here. And I'm gonna go the long way around here. Oh man. Thanks, guy. I'm just not even gonna risk it. Almost missed that. And you can't cut that too close, because those power crystals will kill you. They will one-shot you. Alright, gonna flail up. And here's where I can use that other crystal, because you actually need a couple of charges here to get across. So I just want to speed this section up. And a little heal while we wait. Need a charge here, too. And you don't lose quite as much time there from using a crystal. Or not using a crystal, rather. Dodge a room full of these guys. Some more Spyros in here. A Spyro directly in my way, keeping me from transitioning over to the screen. Oh, almost went right again. Gotta go left here. For some reason, I always confuse that with a room that's a lot later on in the game. And end up going the wrong direction. It's really kind of a bizarre mistake I make there. Yep, I need keys for that, so let's go ahead and drop those on. So I'm actually coming up on probably the most important weapon in the game. As soon as we get back to the gray part of the castle, which will be here in just a second. So you're so very powerful at this point in the game, and you want to exploit that to its maximum potential. Oh, it's actually a real good spin. Got rid of most of those guys. Sir? Thank you. So we get the Blood Sword. And the Blood Sword is vampiric. So we get damage equal to the amount we put out. Just like that. So we can just heal ourselves on the fly. So that enables some pretty slick boss fights a little later on. Actually, one coming up, and which I guess I should talk about here. Right after this RNG room. So I need 2 knights here, because you can't freeze the wizards. Fortunately, I got a knight and a wizard. Okay, 2 knights. So you have to freeze these guys, and freeze them in a position where you can still manipulate the snowman. This one is good, because he was just right up against the wall in a straight line. Unfortunately, I have to wait for this guy to come all the way back over here. And he's probably going to hit me. He did hit me. Yeah, so you can freeze the wizards. So you have to keep resetting that room until you get any combination of 2 knights. That's probably the best pattern you can get, is just 2 knights alone. Just gonna kill that guy to get full health, because we're coming up on the halfway boss, which is Emperor Glaive. Now, this guy is one of the gatekeepers. He's the second gatekeeper of the run. Pretty much any time he's moving, he's in iframes. Whether he can do a little dash, he can do a sword dash, he can attack, and all those moves have iframes. So when he decides that he doesn't like you, and he doesn't want you to PB, you're not going to. But yeah, see, like, just like that. That was a real good fight. So I got, I think, maximum damage off that sword spin. And yes, so this game also has a mobile version on Android devices, which is actually faster. The 2 other guys that run this game are both Japanese runners, and they run on the Android version. And they have sub 2 hour times, which they're both really good. I'm not sure I can get that on the Vita version, but I'm getting very, very close. I'm running on the English version, which, of course, you lose time to text. And the Vita version is slower on screen transitions and slower on the loads as well. And this is the only point you actually get a break in the run. So you get blown away again by Julius, as usual. And then he goes and he ascends to the Mana Sanctuary. So we won't see him again until the end of the game. So this is the longest cutscene. Just, I guess, just kind of marking, the halfway point. Or We get blown away to the desert on the other side of the world. Chocobo comes to save us, but her strength gives out in this nearby town. And then we see old Bogart, who has broken his leg and he can't go on. So Sumo has to undertake the rest of the quest alone. And conveniently, there's an item shop like right here, so you can just come over and reload. So we get those 3 key rings, and then, of course, Maddox. If you haven't noticed the trend, pretty much every time you shop in this game, you get Maddox. So I'm gonna fill up to 14. Actually, 13. 13 ought to be good. Now we're going to continue on, but not before we go to the other side of this town and see what's up with our Chocobo. So this engineer found our Chocobo, and he was nice enough to give her robotic legs. Which, you know, that doesn't actually make her any faster. She still goes the exact same speed. However, she does get the ability to kind of become a jet ski. Also, there's a longer than usual load screen here because you're supposed to go back and talk to Bogard, and then he gives you his cape. But if you just walk out of the town, you can completely skip that cutscene, and then Sumo just gets some kind of random cape attached to him. Also, the overworld music changes. And here's a bit of a routing change that I've just recently started doing. I believe it saves a little bit of time on overworld movement. But I usually fight this guy after I clear the 2 dungeons in front of me. But it's really convenient. Thanks, Stingray. It's really convenient just to go up here and fight him right away. So we get a spell that we only need for exactly one thing in the game by fighting the boss here, who is kind of dangerous. So you kind of want to position yourself on the opposite side of the screen from him. He'll throw blue skulls and red skulls. So if he throws a blue skull, you can eat it up with your iframes. Just like that. If he throws a red skull, you still get hit even when you're in iframes, and it confuses you. This is the other thing he does. So he puts out this scythe in the middle. Takes up a lot of space, and it also shoots skulls as well. So this fight's going well enough. Should just take one more. Okay, and that's why you want to be positioned far away from him. Okay, maybe I'm not leveled up enough. Maybe just one more. Oh, and of course I missed it. Very dangerous situation right now. Thanks. And 2 red skulls. There he goes. Yeah, so those confusion skulls are really, really dangerous. Also, everything one-shots you in this fight. Literally everything. So you want to touch nothing. And as you can see, like, anytime you shoot those confusion skulls, there's 3 of them in a volley. and he will reappear right in the center after he does it. Yeah, if he shoots no reds, it's good. It's a good day. So we just take care of that little problem and get the nuke spell. And head off to the hinterlands. It's just right around this corner. I believe they're properly called the Kara Mountains, but I just call them the Ice Caves. Kind of a dangerous section here. So there's a flail you can buy in the town I just came from. It's a flame flail, and it allows you to hit a lot of these enemies coming up. But yeah, you need a lot of cash for it. And there's that double axe again. And there's no real advantage other than just like being able to kill some enemies here that you normally wouldn't be able to. So it's not really worth it. What is worth it, though, is spitting on these guys. Because realistically, I want to get to... well, I should be on level 27 by the time I exit the ice caves. So I do need to get level 26 somewhere about halfway through-ish. I'm just gonna try to soak up some XP right here. Push that ahead a little bit. And the Lich actually doesn't give that much XP, unfortunately. Okay, there's level 26. So we should be... should be good. Also this. I actually don't think the... Okay, what do I need here? I need flail. I shouldn't have changed that. And I also need keys. We're all set. Yeah, I don't think the mithril sword actually affects these enemies. Like those little, I guess, cloud enemies, wisp, whatever you want to call them. But I don't think I've ever really tried. Just kind of avoid them. But anything you can't hit with a sword, you can hit with a Madoc. Another reason why the Maddox are so good. Just wasted my charge here, so we're just gonna wait it out. This very scary, scary room. And you pretty much want to have the blood sword on deck here all the time in case you get hit. My new policy is pretty much kill a skeleton anytime you see one. I'm not sure. So I haven't played the original too much. I just know bits and pieces of it. Bits and pieces of information that I've gotten from other people that do speedrun that game. Okay, so these ice flows is one reason why this dungeon, and I'm getting pretty lucky here, can be pretty dangerous. Especially if you get an enemy that spawns up under an archway like that. Which, that was pretty close. You can hear him kind of scuttling around on the ice. Though, it's kind of an indicator that you may want to attack when you get towards the end of that. Been really good, actually. And that is unusual. Haven't even been hit yet. I got so much for enemies getting in my way, right? Oh man. It's excellent. But yeah, there are a lot of screens. A lot of screens with ice flows, and of course the enemies can spawn underneath the archways. And they can end up killing you. because they do a lot of damage, generally. I didn't get a lot of damage dealt to me just now because I had my shield on and facing towards them. And again, just using the defensive properties of the spin here. And then the one room where they trick you, you actually need the axe here. Cut down those briars. We're actually almost at the end. Just gotta worry about one room coming up. Somehow I managed to slide past that guy. Wow, this is really just unbelievable. I think I've ever had an ice caves this good. And the Potos are playing nice too? Man. Go ahead and get rid of that guy. Get to full health. Kind of important for this boss fight coming up. Oh man, that was crazy good. Let's see about this boss though. So, Blood Sword. Really good. Crazy boss strat coming up. So you want to come over here, sword dash just to kind of dump a lot of damage into her. And then you can stand directly in front of her. And she will shoot you with this free spell. I kind of just like to double tap up. Okay, there's a music glitch. And you can just spam attack. If you stand directly in front of her, she will just continuously throw free spells at you. And because you deal out so much damage, like, it's just a war of attrition that she loses. Yeah, so the Blood Sword we get from Castle Glaive, it's vampiric. Allows us to get health. As much health, health equivalent to the damage we deal. I guess the best way to put it. If you don't position yourself directly in front of her, like if you're a little to the left or a little to the right, she will actually start squirming around the screen, which is pretty dangerous because a body shot from her is insta-kill. And there's level 27. Good, good, good. Thanks, Walrus, for being directly in my way. Okay. So we get our Chocobo again. It's a little too cold for her, so she just kind of hung back in at this part here. And this is the longest overworld portion in the game. Made even longer by those fish that don't want to get out of my way. And that tree that I didn't cut down. Other than that, let's go ahead and continue on. So this town down here, Lorimar, is actually completely frozen until you go through Kara Mountains and kill Merilith. And the only reason we have to even go in here is to advance through the game. And good Siba RNG, please! Okay, that's decent. So he just gives you the key to the next dungeon. And sometimes he spawns like way in the back of the room, so you lose a couple seconds from that. Okay, and now we're off to Float Rocks. And I do have quite enough Maddox not to soft lock. So you need Maddox to destroy all the boulders around Float Rocks to actually get into the dungeon, which is the subterranean river. And then you need Maddox to go through that. And it's actually a combination dungeon, so you go through a short dungeon, there's a boss, and you go through an even longer dungeon. So you need Maddox to get through all that. You need Maddox to get in, and then you need Maddox to get out. That adds up to quite a bit of Maddox. So yeah, again, they are very, very important in this run. Yeah, it just takes a long time to get to this dungeon. It's mostly just these water screens here. And the land portion isn't very exciting either. So here I'm just looking for an inlet right here. And we're just going to take this river around to another dock. If you notice that Chocobo can only enter and exit land from a dock. Considering I did find a glitch with the Chocobo, I'm going to see how true that actually is. But it's going to require a lot more testing. The timing to actually glitch the Chocobo is very, very strict. So yeah, I guess not really much to say here. So I guess I'll talk about the next boss, since he's coming up very soon. There's a quick kill on the next boss, and I'm not entirely sure how it works. I don't know what the factor is that I need to change to actually get it consistently. But, yeah. You just cast a few spells at him. Actually, you really only need to cast one spell at him. And then sword dash, and he goes away. And then a couple of sections outside of Float Rocks, you just kind of want to mount up on your Chocobo so you don't take any damage. Because these turtles, again, they can only be hit from one side, kind of like the purple dragon enemies earlier. How much time lost is it to kill Cyclops? I'm not exactly sure, but it's got to be in the vein of a couple minutes, because you have to go all the way through Crooked Boulder. You have to go all the way through Crooked Boulder, and also fight Cyclops, which is no easy task in this version. But yeah, just kind of want to mount and dismount here. If you can, I do like to kill a few of those Stingray enemies, which are not even around at this point. Oh, she spawned all the way back here. So I want to buy 2 Thunderbolts, 2 pairs, and I want to buy an Ether just for good measure. Because, as you can see, 6 MP is not very much, and that's how much we take through the entire game. So here, I just kind of want to drop on, where is it? The skeleton key. Then we're just going to menu on the other side. And that, and let's go. Yeah, no Morning Star. We just completely skip it in this version of the game. So, subterranean river, subland river, whatever you want to call it. It's very short. It can be winding, though, if you don't know where you're going. Has a lot of Maddock walls. And just one in particular coming up is the one that usually will throw people off. One right here. Alright, so let's see what happens. Very, very strict timing here. Let's see if I can pull it off. First, I'm going to try to line myself up in the center here. Okay, I got it. There we go. So I believe that's a glitch as well. You Because if you just throw the lightning bolt and then you sword dash at him, he doesn't die. But if you time it to where it kind of all hits together, for some reason it just does a crazy amount of damage to him and kills him instantly. And you can actually do that without even, like, tossing the second Thunderbolt. I just did that for good measure. And then kind of an annoying room coming up here, which I found out something about recently. Oh, that's not good RNG. So of course, we need good RNG in here. We need 2 knights. But you can actually chop down those leaves so they're not in your way when you come back. And this is a room that can definitely eat up a lot of time. We got 1 knight. We just keep getting 1 knight. Unfortunate. Okay, now we have multiple knights. And a wizard, which I'm not super thrilled with. Oh my god, okay. This guy is just in the way. Yeah, so these snowmen take 1 hit. They're very fragile. And you don't want to go dashing all over the place and accidentally hit them. Luckily, the enemies can hit them. That would make this room so much more annoying. How am I capturing? I'm actually using a straight video out from Vita, so I have a capture card inside my Vita. Which makes it nice, no input lag. No input lag at all. Okay, lots of XP. I'm just gonna get this guy since he's right there. Alright. So there's one more room that I have to worry about like that a little later on in the dungeon. It's actually the last room. I'm gonna need keys again. Go ahead and drop those on. Gonna need a lot of health. Okay. That is very nice. Level 28 here. That's something I usually don't see, so I'm actually ahead on the leveling again. Alright, so now I'm creeping right up on that room. Hopefully that room gives me good RNG. So if you didn't bring an ether down here, at this point, if you're low on magic or completely out of magic, you would have to get a... Just go ahead and set that there. You have a chance to get an ether there from those wizards. Okay. That should work. Just have to go around and manipulate that one, push it a little bit further. Yeah, usually this room isn't that much of a problem. Sometimes you do get, like, the one enemy spawn in here. And as a general rule, you want to freeze the slower moving guys in the ground first. 1, they don't move quite as fast. 2, they can go underground, and they kind of just wander around and do their own thing for the most part. Sometimes position themselves where you can hit them. Anywho, let's move on to Ifrit. So he's pretty easy boss. We just walk up to him, we start sword spinning, and he's gonna toss a tracking fireball. Just want to move out of the way there. And we just want to hit him a few times, especially when he goes near that edge, because he can do a giant bouncy ball like that. Okay, so I kind of messed up that fight a little bit. Just slightly. So let's try again, shall we? That bouncy ball actually loses a lot of time. It is kind of ridiculous. So let's go ahead and try again. Let's do our spin. He's going to throw a tracking fireball. He's going to get near the edge. He's going to throw another tracking fireball. That's what I messed up. And while he's doing that, your stamina is regenerating. So you just do another spin and he's out of here. And then we get the Sword of Mana, but it's all rusty. That's not important right now, though. What is important is buying a couple more Thunderbolts. I'd like to stack up 3 here. I might not even use 3, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then you have to talk to your Chocobo again to get her to follow you. Oh jeez, these guys are just gonna jump in my way. I think I must have missed something in chat. I think someone asked a question that I didn't get around to. If so, just go ahead and post it again, and I'll gladly answer it. Mr. Turtle? Thanks. Alright. So I just kind of took some safety strats there. Mounted the Chocobo a little bit more than I should have. And then of course I get up here. Get knocked around. Alright, so they spawned in a favorable position this time. And that's the second to last barrier. Oh, man. Oh, man. Turtles, please. Okay. Here we go. So, the reason I fight the Lich first now is because previously from here, you would have to go all the way back around to that desert island. Which is a very long trip. You also have to worry about your magic, too. Actually, I'm just going to stop at this little wellspring up here. Recover. Very convenient spot. Yeah, so we would have to get all the way out of Float Rocks. All the way around this winding river. And then go all the way back to that desert island. Fight Lich. And then go to the desert. But at this point, since I fight the Lich first, we just go from here, back to the desert, and then continue on with the game. Yes, this game was originally Final Fantasy Adventure. It's a one-to-one remake on the Vita. For the most part. They had to change some stuff, just to make it 3D. The stuff they did change is very interesting. Makes the game a lot better. Yes, that was the other name for Final Fantasy Adventure. It's Mystic Quest. I believe that was a European version, if I'm not mistaken. which is confusing because there's also Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, which is a completely different game. And here's our one time we use the nuke spell. That's it. So we go down into these buried ruins. And then we find these shield guys. These shield guys, they can be jerks sometimes. They will be all the way across the room and just like dash at you just to kill you. I'm gonna spin since that golem does not want to move. So a couple items you can get down here. You can get the dragon shield and the second strongest weapon in the game, the Dragon Buster, which I'm gonna grab right now. Dragon Buster is just a upgrade to your sword. And shields, I still have a leather shield, so I'm not, you know, you really don't buy any shields throughout this game. Or throughout the run, I should say. Not really all that useful. You could buy the Mithril Shield if you want. You generally have enough money at that point to buy it. And the Crystal Shield, you don't really have enough at that point. For the most part. Even with, like, glorious enemy spawns, like I got. And I am so glad that guy is here. I'm on level 29. I'm usually not on level 29 until the last tower of the game. I'm gonna stand here until my stamina regens. And we're gonna fight one of the harder boss fights in the game. So to even enter it, you have to go through that electric fence. And you have to get really far away from him. He's gonna start walking. Kind of position yourself here. And then spin, spin, spin. And kind of stick to his butt. And I just kind of got away with murder. So his scythes are actually airborne. So if you get right up next to him, you can avoid some damage. And spin. Might get hit here. But I didn't. So boom, there he goes. He takes up a lot of space in that arena, as you can see. And this, I believe, is new to this version. You have to take the Rustiest Sword of Mana and plunge it into this button to raise the next tower that we go through. Yes, this is the first boss of Secret of Mana. Yeah, so I don't want to say I got away with murder there, but I kind of got away with murder. Okay, and now we're going towards the end game. So Dime Tower, we have to get into Dime Tower to branch back onto Castle Glaive, which branches on to the Mana Sanctuary. And we can wave goodbye to our Chocobo. That's the last time we're going to see her. We do get a really, really good partner, though. We get Marcy. Marcy regenerates your magic, which you don't use much of, but, you know, it is pretty useful. Oop. Oh, man. Almost got hit. There are, again, lots of enemies just in the way here. That's the reason I just keep the blood sword on, so I can keep moving. And then we want to crack this wall and go this direction, because we want to end up on the eastern terrace. Oh man, so many. So yeah, you can go to the east or the west of this tower. Doesn't really matter as far as just getting to the end, but the eastern side does save a little bit of time. The western side has a couple rooms where you have to use the flail and all that, and it has some golems, so you don't want to mess with all those guys. Okay, and apparently I need to drop keys on again, so let's go ahead and do that. And you can get the dragon armor here, which is an upgrade, but I mean, it's one room over, so it's not a huge time loss if you want to go get it. Just have some extra protection for the end game. But I'd rather just not. Get these guys. Pretty easy room. Actually, just gonna have her regenerate here. And I'm on level 30. Nuts. It's crazy how far ahead on the leveling I am. And, again, keys. Here we go. I'm just gonna kind of hang out here for just a little bit. Put on the Thunderbolts. Make sure I have Dragon Buster equipped. Is Garuda, another one of the harder boss fights in the game. And he almost immediately swoops most of the time here. So you just want to be ready with Sword Dash. And hit him with a couple of those. Okay, and I guess he's just gonna dive. This is bad RNG. I take these Thunderbolts, because I do want to hit him from across the screen when he does his flurry attack. Also, when he's going up in the air like that, you can just hit him with Maddox. I've just been whiffing those Thunderbolts. And if you time it correctly, you can do what I just did there. When he throws just the volley of 3 feathers, you can just eat it up with iframes and then retaliate. I don't know. That may be in the future. I've never really played around with the nuke spell. I've always just used it to blow up that one crystal to progress, and that's about it. I think I tried hitting Mantis Ant with it, and nothing happened. But I do want to play around with a magic route in this game. Also, sad cutscene. So, Dime Tower starts crumbling after we beat Garuda. Marcy comes up with a plan, says she has thrusters, and she's just going to throw you across and then use the thrusters to jump across herself. That turns out not to be true. So she doesn't have any thrusters at all. So she throws Sumo across and just goes down with the tower. So now we're entering the final section of the game. It's pretty easy to get lost on, but I've been practicing this pretty well. So we go through a section of this tower, and then we're going to fight a boss. And it's going to continue like that a couple more times. The first part is pretty easy. You pretty much just get led around to where you need to be. But the second and third section, you have to take a specific path or you're going to get lost. So we do have a Dragon Buster, and appropriately, we're going to be fighting some dragons. And there's a runner that does a strat here that I've not been able to replicate, because I think it's either on an older patch of the game, or it is exclusive to the Android version. Okay, this is fine. One hit is fine. I'm just gonna play it safe here. There goes a blue dragon. Yeah, so he comes in and he kind of stands on a specific tile. And when he does that, the dragons just get stuck. So they're trying to attack you, but they just never can actually accomplish that. I've done everything identically, but it just does not seem to work. So I think they either patched it out or it just doesn't work on this. Yes, you can get the... It's called the samurai armor in this game. If you kill the demon heads, you get the samurai helmet, which is the strongest helmet in the game. Kill a bunch of ninjas, you can potentially get the samurai armor, which is nice. It's really nice when you get that drop. And I just went the wrong way. So you don't go that way at all, you have to go up here. Thank you. Oh, you're not actually dead. Yeah, and I believe you can exploit those chests too, if I'm not mistaken, if you don't get what you want. I forget exactly how it's done though. There's some way you can like reset that chest once you get a drop from the ninjas. Which drop two different things. So they can drop, was it a full ether or something like that? And they can drop those, they can drop the samurai armor. Okay, this is the correct direction now. I always kind of use this room as the indicator I went the right way. And let's see if Minotaur number 2 will cooperate. Say 10 to 15% of the time he doesn't. So the large majority of the time he does. Just like that. He will just get in the way of your Blizzard spell and you'll have to cast another one and lose a little bit of time. I'm at full health here, which is great because I need to take 1 damage boost. So we start off this fight pretty much the same way as the Blue Dragon fight. And, oh, I might die. We'll see. I'm probably going to die here. Because that is not the damage boost I needed to take. For some reason, he spit fire at me, which I've never actually seen him do that. So let's go ahead and start from scratch here. Let's get him this time. Yeah, I'm not actually sure what caused that. It's pretty crazy. Alright, take 2, let's go. Yeah, usually he does just that. Lifts his head, so we cut our sword spin a little bit. Just so we can get enough stamina to start spinning here. And you want to space yourself just enough so you can hit his head. And then get all the way out of there. And I think you take more damage the closer you are to that flame. And then we position him right here. And we position ourselves here. And you just gotta spin, and there he goes. My previous strat was much more dangerous. The hitbox in that blue flame is ridiculously big. So if you're not angled the right way, you're, again, like a pixel or 2 from death, because it's a insta-kill when you take this level path. These guys, they wanted to dash on me. And I'll just dash on them. And I always want to go down there. It's the next floor up where you go down. Again, when you're going through the Tower of Mana, you always pretty much want to see those straight corridors right there. That's an indication you're going the right way. Pretty much, if you ever see 2-4, then you've gone the wrong way. Oh. And speaking of going the wrong way, don't need to step on that teleporter again. So here we go. Final floor. And where are my keys? Always seem to not have keys on in this section for some reason. Probably because I replaced them with the Blizzard spell and don't put them back in that slot. We're not going to talk about that. Actually need the Blizzard spell here, speaking of that. Okay, he cooperated. Alright. So, we're coming up on pretty much the final gatekeeper of this run. A boss that is really, really, really hard, but I just recently found a manipulation on him. So we'll see how we do here. So he is actually really, really crazy. I was practicing this a little bit before the marathon, too. Okay, perfect. And he didn't spit any fireballs, either. Oh. Alright, I'm just gonna focus here. And wait for him to finish that. This boss is actually really, really hard. Yeah, so I'm on PB pace at this point. Like, pretty hardcore. In my PB, I died to that guy like 3 or 4 times. But that was before I found the manipulation, which was just a couple days ago. I'm also at a higher level, too. So Julius, I think, is going to be a little bit easier as well. Julius isn't that difficult, but he can waste a lot of time with his Phase 1 shenanigans. It's because you never know which one is the real one. And the fact that you're one-shot, too, for the most part. Anywho, so our Rusty Sword now turns into the Sword of Mana, just called Excalibur in this game. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, wow. That is incredible. I'm actually going to put that on. So I just got a really rare drop for those elephants. I got the strongest shield in the game, the Aegis Shield. So this ought to help. It may have sealed the deal with the PB and all that right here. Okay, the main thing with Julius is that if you die, you have to go through all 3 phases again. Alright, so here we go. He actually immediately attacks you, so you have to move to the left or the right. Oh, and I got a good stack on these guys, too. You don't want to attack these guys on the way in. Excuse me. Simply because you can get one-shot by the shield. So we're just going to wait for that shield to break. And wow, that phase 1 was ridiculous. Alright, phase 2 looks reminiscent of a character you were talking about, Final Fantasy 1. So this guy might look a little familiar to you. And yes, the level up sprites are pulled from Final Fantasy 1. Okay, so the key here, You want to run one direction, and then run back past the point. Oh, wow. He just dive kicked off the side of the stage. Okay. Once you get that stagger on him, he's going to go into a different attack pattern. Or he usually does. I'm just going to go and grab some health from him. Oof. You do kind of want to stay on the move here. Yeah, this is kind of dangerous. Again, you're one-shot this whole time. So if he does hit you, it's over. So I had kind of an extended fight there, because I wanted to get some health in case he hit me again. Alright, phase 3. Should be about 5 cycles. He does have a desperation attack that is covers pretty much the whole screen. So you want to move appropriately. So I like to get to full health right away here. And pretty much all you do is sword dash and kind of move around. So what you don't want is for him to spawn right up on you. Okay, so that's 2. Just kind of stick and move here. It's 3. So I think he might do his desperation attack here. Alright, that's time. 201. That is a big PB. Actually, my previous PB was 207.33. Which is pretty far under my estimate, but my estimate's pretty generous, because if I get a bad run, I average out at 220. So there we go. And I guess if we have time, we can see the kind of sad ending here. So I guess sub 2 is possible on this version. If I had taken a couple less deaths, I would have been right there. And thank you for the GGs, guys. Well, I guess, yeah, technically for Vita, not for the game in general. And I did find out something about the original. I guess Julius's explosion actually hurts you in the original version, but it doesn't hurt you in this game. So he takes out, he blows up, he takes out the mana tree with him. Fuji's mother appears before and tells her that her destiny is basically to turn into the mana tree. And she just kind of gives a little bit of backstory about the Vandal Empire, which is in the prehistory of this game. I think about 20 or so years before. So yeah, she's just a vision at this point, and she's gonna disappear pretty soon. Yeah, pretty much. You're gonna be a tree. She does have the choice to not become the mana tree. So this is kind of a history repeats itself moment. So Fuji's mother was in love with Bogard, who is a Geminite, and the Geminites are an order that protect the mana tree. And then Fuji's mother, of course, went on to become the mana tree, so it repeats here. Fuji becomes a mana tree. Sumo is now a true Geminite, so it's his duty to protect the tree. That's interesting. Kulix calls himself the Dark Knight of Vandal. It's an interesting little reference in there. So there it is. So Fuji does become the mana tree. She accepts her duty, and Sumo accepts his duty. And she just has one last request that Sumo go off and tell Bogard that, I guess, Fuji's mother actually loved her. Yes, so it reminds you of Final Fantasy Adventure, which is the original version of this game. And you can switch soundtracks. So there's a really nice remastered soundtrack. Unfortunately, I don't think the same team worked on the Secret of Mana remixes, because those aren't quite as good. But yeah, the remix quality here is really, it's just great, you know. But you can switch over to the original Game Boy soundtrack. Okay. Oh, that took a unusually long time to load. And yeah, that's about it. So, credits are gonna roll. It is a pretty good song, so I don't know if you guys want to let the credits roll or not. It only takes a couple more minutes if you do. And there's a very nice ending screen, too, at the end of it. Yeah, the ending to pretty much every mana game is somber. Somber at best. Never really happy. Even in the newer games. I guess the ending of Heroes of Mana is, you know, somewhat happy. It's just kind of odd. So Heroes of Mana is pretty interesting in of itself. It's that story there, where it opens up the possibility of like parallel universes within the world of Mana. Well, this part at least is happy. So she's got another chocobo to play with. They at least leave you on that note. And that's it, guys. So, I appreciate each and every one of you guys watching. That was a really good run. I died only a handful of times. Almost sub 2. I'm not exactly sure if anyone worked on it from the original.